To get started with using Convoy, you're going to have to create a project. So you click the Create Project button. To create a project on Convoy, you simply need to provide your project's name. I will call this Demo Project Incoming. Now, there are two types of projects on Convoy. We have the incoming webhooks and we have the outgoing webhooks. For the incoming webhooks project, the project is set up to enable you receive webhook events. And for the outgoing webhooks, the project will be set up to enable you send out webhook events. So for this, firstly, we would be looking through incoming webhooks project. And you can go ahead to add more configurations like signature details for the project, the retry logic for the project, the rate limit parameters, disabling endpoints, and retention policy. But for the sake of this demo, we'll simply ignore this and create a project. Now, when you create a project, you provide you a token which would be used to authenticate requests. So in case you're going to be operating this project through an API. So you can just copy this and done. So firstly, you need to create an application in a project. An application on Convoy is simply a receiver that receives it's simply a receiver that receives webhook events. So we can call this the product's name and say this is Convoy app receiving the webhook event. And a support email is simply an email where we send notifications to in case of downtimes on the endpoint of the application or a faulty application. And same thing goes for the Slack webhook URL for webhook notifications, for Slack notifications. And you had an endpoint to this app, a description and an endpoint URL. So we simply had the webhook site URL and we had the webhook secret, endpoint secret, I mean. It can just be a random figure there and HTTP timeout 10 seconds and we create our application. Now we need to create a source. Source is where events come into the system. And currently on Convoy, we support just HTTP source. So when you create a source, Convoy generates a unique HTTP link to receive webhooks on your behalf from your provider. So to create a source, we provide the source name, and this source, we can call this GitHub. And we select HTTP source. Other source types are still in the works. And we've made Convoy easy for you to easily set up your GitHub source. So you simply select GitHub, or in case you have other options like Basic Hot or Twitter or Shopify, you can select them and simply provide your webhook signing secret. But for the sake of this, we'll simply set up GitHub source. And now we need to set our webhook signing secret. And we create source. After creating source, you need to create a subscription, right? And subscription is simply you asking Convoy to listen to a particular event from a particular source, right? So for this, we can say we are listening to pull requests from GitHub, and the source is going to be GitHub, and the application is going to be for Convoy app. An application is simply the receiver of the events, and the endpoint is going to be to webhook the site. And you can also add more configuration here, like retry logic and the alert rule. But for the sake of this demo, we'll be skipping that and continue to create a subscription. Now, on completing the onboarding, you are going to be brought to the empty state of the events page. And you can come to sources here to see the source you just created. And you can come to subscriptions to see the subscription that was just created. And you can come to the apps to see the app that was just created. So now to test this, we'll simply add our webhook to GitHub and get events from GitHub. So simply copy our source URL here and come in here to add our URL and simply application JSON, the secret that was added, which was secret, and just say send everything and hard webhook. Now that we've added our webhook to GitHub, we can test by going into our project and sending performing an action to send a webhook event. So simply go into the Convoy application and go to our pull request. This is a pull request, so we can easily try to perform an action here by leaving a comment and saying awesome work here, start a review, and submit a review. It should automatically have fired the webhook event into our Convoy. This should automatically fire an event into our Convoy instance. So we go to our Convoy project and events. Yes, we can see the event that was sent from Convoy from GitHub. It shows the source name and it shows the date created, and we can see the deliveries of that particular event. And right here you can see the details of the webhook events and all the details sent by GitHub. And we can see the review overview because webhook Convoy currently supports multiple endpoints per event. So in case we had more endpoints under our application, those will have been listed here. We can click on this to open the event delivery details of that particular request. So we can see the event payload that was sent, the response header, the request header, and the response body. And basically that is it with the incoming project. So now you can go ahead to create an outgoing project on Convoy. I'll say outgoing and select that type and create project. So we also see this token which you can copy and continue. So now for an outgoing project, it means that you want to send events to customers or users, right? So each user would have to create an application for themselves, right? In this instance, we say this is verified and a support email for downtime notifications and a Slack webhook URL. Just use that for them for starters, and the webhook description and a URL and secret email address both. And HTTP timeouts 10 seconds and create an app. By default, we don't need to create sources for outgoing project because by default it is always going to be HTTP, at least for now on Convoy. So you create a subscription name to set what this app is going to be listing for, right? So we'll call this a new sub, and then set the application that wants to subscribe for this event, say verify, and the endpoint which you already set earlier, and the event types that this subscription wants to listen to. So let's say users that want to listen to event for like payments, success, and payments failed. And we can add configuration if we choose to and create a subscription. So it brings us here. And if we notice, we don't have option for sources. So just the same way outgoing incoming projects will work on Convoy. And here we can open the app details page. Here we can add more endpoints for this app if we choose to, or send an event, a dummy event. So by default, app ID is already created. The app ID was selected to this particular app, and then data that I want to send. So we can say data, let's say new demo. Event type is, we're going to say payment success, because this is one of the event types that the subscription is currently listening to. So when we say send events, event has been sent. So opening this shows us the delivery overview, and when you click on that, you can see the details of that particular event. So that is basically it with Convoy, sending and receiving webhook events.